Hi everybody, welcome to another video of Trading with Jackie. I'm Jackie Panetta, and today's video is part 2 of the wedge alerts using the AIRIS AI powered software from the dollar Swiss. As I talked about the dollar CAD trade this morning, so let's talk about dollar Swiss. Alright, so what you'll see is I had to update my trend lines from an earlier picture because I was like, oh, I didn't even have my lines intersecting really, So I had to fix it up a little bit. That's why these look a little different than the picture I might have posted in the chat. But this vertical line is when the alert happens. So that was at 9:30. Okay, the time is 2 o'clock p.m. So I'm walking through it a little later. All right, so 9:30 is when the alert happened. And so usually you're going to draw your trend lines. I try to find 2 points prior to the alert because that was suggested to me to do. So draw, and it was an ascending wedge. All right. So an ascending wedge does not also necessarily mean that you're looking for a sell, and it also doesn't necessarily mean you're looking for a buy. What you're looking for, what it all is telling you is a wedge is being formed. Okay. You need to draw the trend lines to figure out which way is price going to break out of that wedge. That's what you have to do. All this thing is telling you that it's being formed. Now, 60 to 65% of the time, price is a continuation of what is already happening. Meaning, if it's an ascending wedge, price will continue to ascend. 60 to 65%. 6 out of 10 trades. All right. Now, how did I figure that out? Because I went back and drew wedges for a currency pair, and I did it for dollar Swiss. That's how I came up. Because I found most of the time when it was a descending wedge, that thing was still descending. So I said, oh, maybe this is nice. And what was confirmed for me in a call with Trade Masters is that very thing. Yes, 60 to 65% of the time it is a continuation. The other times it is a reversal. Okay? So, with that being said, it was an ascending wedge that was sent. All right? And as you can clearly see, it was a reversal. Okay? Now, there is a strategy where it says ascending. You want to look for the sell if the RSI is like at 75 or close to 75 or 73, and then you're looking for a sell. Well, I could tell you RSI out the 15-minute chart didn't get nowhere near 70 nothing. Okay? So, with that being said, you can't use RSI in this scenario to take as a confirmation for this trade. Okay? So that's why you got to have additional ways to confirm your trade. Whether you use other indicators, whether you just use the way price is moving, whatever way you want to do it, but you should always have maybe more than one way to confirm that this is a trade in the direction that you want to go. Okay? So that's why I'm telling y'all RSI did not even play a factor in this one because it was nowhere near the numbers that were pertaining to that particular strategy, the fusion strategy. All right. So fusion strategy out. Go to the next thing. All right. Now, again, the alert happened in this, and we're trading off of the 15-minute time frame. And by the way, I'm using TradingView.com for me to draw my trend lines because it's actually something that it helps me see it better. It was recommended to me when I first started getting these wedge alerts because I never even used this before. And I really like it. I like the view of it, okay? I'm not good at drawing trend lines anyway, and I seem to have a hard time viewing it in MetaTrader. So this was just, I really only I use TradingView.com to draw my trend lines and for wedge alerts and stuff. That's what I use it for. And maybe to read about other people's trade ideas. But that's it, all right? I trade for MetaTrader. So, anyway, the vertical line is your alert. I drew my trend lines for this ascending wedge. All right. So now, during this 15 minutes, I'm looking for a break to happen. Okay. It did not happen in these 15 minutes. All right. However, when I took my dollar Swiss trade today, I did not look at this wedge as its own wedge. I looked at this only for pair correlation trading, actually. Because, as you remember in part 1, I did the dollar CAD trade as well as the dollar Swiss because both alerts came out at the same time with wedges going in the same direction. Both ascending wedges. And they both came out at 9:30. And they're both positively correlated. So, I'm going to go ahead and take a trade on both of them then. Okay? It's just that one may move sooner than the other, but they both going to move in the same direction. All right? And if you want to learn more about pair correlation and things like that, I went to MyFX book. Check out market correlation and look up these two pairs. You'll see that they're positively correlated, particularly on the 15-minute chart. So, with that being said, that's why I took these two trades. In the dollar Swiss version, I didn't even wait for price to break out of the wedge of dollar Swiss. I didn't care. All I knew that this was a pair correlation to the USDCAD, and USDCAD had the breakout. Okay? So what I did was, when I knew USDCAD had the breakout in the first 15 minutes, right? That next candle, I knew I was taking a trade on USDCAD. I took the trade on dollar Swiss. So on this, in my instance, when I took my trade right up here. Okay? Right up here. And then followed it down. So on that next 15-minute candle, I took the trade. As you can clearly see, price has not broken out in the first 15 minutes, but it broke out in that next one, in the one when I took the trade in the beginning. Okay? So USDCAD was a leading pair indicator of the breakout. Right? Okay? But it broke out. But if you go back, though, and because the breakout happened there, I took the trade on here too. Some people might not do that, but I'm telling you what I did. Okay? Now, if you see, though, on USDCAD, I'm going to bring you to it real quick. Alright, so here was that trade on USDCAD. The breakout happened here in that first 15 minutes. And I took my trade right here. But you see, I'm in drawdown because price actually went up. Okay? I'm not familiar with USDCAD, so price went up. So I had like I had it in my mind of a 10-15 pip stop loss. Because I'm like, all right, I don't really know how this price moves for this thing. I only traded with wedge alerts. Right? So I'm in drawdown already on this one. But while I'm in drawdown on this one, right? And then look at it. Price did go, broke out, boom, and it went down. Okay, so I knew I was right. It just took time for the breakout to actually happen. But while USDCAD wanted to start tripping, USD dollar Swiss already started doing what it needed to do. So at this point, dollar Swiss turned into the leading pair indicator because it initiated the breakout and took that down. It already started a downtrend. Since dollar Swiss was going, I wasn't even worried about USDCAD. I knew that drawdown was going to come down. And dollar Swiss just kept going. Especially, it was further confirmed when dollar Swiss did its breakout in this 15 minutes that I already had it and continued down. Okay? That's how it was further confirmed. Boom, it was going down. And it took place right here. And on the dollar CAD one, if you would have saw, that next breakout happened in this candle as well. And continued down. Okay? So, that's how I took this dollar Swiss. But if you want to follow it from basic rules of how I would normally do it without pair correlation, you can clearly see no breakout happened when the alert happened, right? It happened here in the next one, right? I take the trade off of the next 15-minute candle after the breakout. So if I would have waited, I would have never took the trade here. I would have waited till this next candle and took the trade there. So that's like, what, 94.70, 08, and boom, I would have went down. There you go. 94.45. That's almost 30 pips. You know, I probably would have caught 15, 20 of them. Okay? If I would have did it normally and looked at this wedge separately versus no pair correlation. Okay? But that's how you would normally look at it. And then what you also want to pay attention to is you want to pay attention to the way that it moves on the 5-minute chart. For instance, let me go back and then see if you're looking at the 5-minute chart. You see 1, 2, 3. That's that first candle when the alert happened. No breakout. 1, 2, 3. Breakout happens in the second candle, very little bit, right? Here's the beginning of the next one. This is when I would have took that. This is when I would have took that trade normally, if I wasn't even looking at pair correlation, right? And then it takes it a little down. Okay. See how it's better to see that off of the 5-minute. You see how ain't nowhere in there did I say anything about RSI, especially since I'm doing a sell at that. Okay. So it had nothing to do with anything like that at all. So hopefully this information helped you guys, and it was something that would be able to, further explain how I took this trade. I thought it was a great trade. You'll actually see, that as I move it out here, you actually see in my MC4, you'll see what it did. So here's the, I take 2 positions. So you'll see this first one, I always put my take profit for 5.2 pips. 5 pips to secure, 2 pipettes to pay the broker. All right. And so secure my 5 pips. Now, here's the second position right here. So when I take my positions, I take them at the same time. So there was only like a 1 pipette difference. You can clearly see 9:45 is when I took it. So it's only 2 seconds in between, right? So the second one, soon as take profit hits on here, I come here and I turn on my trailing stop loss. And it just trailed. And it kept trailing. And look at how many of it took. That's 19 pips. Boom. I traded 1 standard lot size. Okay? That's 24 pips in this whole entire one trade. All right? And additional confirmations that I do use is I use the alligator. Okay, so this indicator is the alligator RSI trend strength indicator. All right? And I look at it from just making sure, I believe, let me see if I can find it. This is that 9:30 candle right here. All right? And then boom, you see how the lip of the alligator is this green one is starting to turn down, right? And this is on a 15-minute candle. If you go down to the 5-minute, let me see if I can find it. 9:25. Here's that 9:30 candle, all right? You see though, the lip and the teeth of the alligator already crossed. Lip already crossed way back here on the 5 minutes. The teeth crossed over here. Right at that 9:30, 9:05, 9:35. The teeth crossed, but the lip already crossed. That means, and then it kept going. That means the jaws are opening. Okay, that's what that alligator indicator. The jaws are opening and it's trending down, and this is exactly what it did. Okay, and the trend strength indicator at that point, it can be green or showing an uptrend or a downtrend, but it usually is following what this alligator is showing me. It's just an additional confirmation to show how strong the trend is. That's all this means. How strong is it that it's going down? How strong is it that it's going up? So that helps me also further ensure where my price entry is as a confirmation. But majority of what was used for this trade was the alligator pair correlation. That's what it was. Trend strength indicator. RSI wasn't at anywhere the numbers for the normal strategy I used, so I didn't use it. Okay? And there you go. So that's all I wanted to show y'all about this particular trade. Part 2, if you interested, I'll put my link in the description box below if you guys are interested in getting the wedge alerts, so you can try and see if you can get used to that and make some money with trading using them as well. Like I saw in my other video, I'm start practicing on gold because I see gold is a huge profit potential. This right here, 24 pips off this one trade, off the dollar CAD joint, even getting in too early. I made 9 pips total off of that one. Could have been more if I would have waited a little bit. So, but that's 33 pips, 43 pips. Really? What is it? 24 plus 9. Hold up. 24 plus 9. 33 pips. Yeah, sorry. Gotta do my math. 33 pips in a day. Come on now. And y'all already know the goal is 15 pips a day. The goal is 75 pips a week. And I just caught 33 first thing in the morning. Come on, y'all. Let's go. Let's go. All right. Anyway, so if y'all got any questions, hit me up in the comments. Message me if you want to. We can talk about it some more. And like I said, I'm not even a expert trader or nothing like that. I'm just talking to y'all to see how it worked for me. And if it helps you out, that's great. If not, I'm sorry. You know, maybe something else might work. I mean, maybe somebody else can explain it better or whatever. But I'm just trying to talk y'all through how it works for me and how I've been successful with it. All right. Y'all take care. Bye.